Yeah. Welcome, friend. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up and think. Think clearly. Or maybe instead of think clearly, be be clear. Wake up and be clear. As in, oh, well, well, think as in, think as in, not just think, but speak. Yes. So we're speaking. Oh, let's see. What causes the echo? Oh, oh, maybe if I, let's try this. Let's turn, how come I can't turn off the, that's me. I don't see the, I don't see the control for, oh, there it is. Oh, whoa. Let's see, lower the volume. Increase the volume on this one. Let's see. Increase the volume like this. It's up to the top. Maybe that's the problem. So if I lower the volume on this one, or mute it and unmute this one. How's that? Nope. Wait a minute. Is this muted? Oh, okay, that one's muted and this one's not, right? Oh, I could like this in. Let's see. Hello. Hello. Oh, how come? Is this yes, good. I don't hear. I don't hear. Let's see. Let's see. Stop video settings. Meeting settings. This. Let's see. Hello. Are you still with me? I guess I'm now there's only one person. Oh. I could be full of shit, but I'm okay with that. Let's see. Let's see, recording. Okay, so what is it gonna do? Okay, I'm going to join. Shit. Oh, how did it go back? Okay. Let's see. Let's remove the background. And go back. Start a meeting. Okay. There we are. No, stay participant. Join with audio. All right. I can hear. I can hear.
I just turned it off. Okay. So,
am I still recording?
Yes.
How many? Oh,
there's Dominic. Okay. Welcome, Dominic Tersigny in Toronto to wake up and clearly think
or wake up
and be clear. Be clear. What do you think about that? Instead of thinking clearly, we should be clear. Be clear. Be clear about it. So,
what's the
what's
weather
the weather
like
like
in Toronto?
Dark. It's probably it's a little bit nippy outside right now.
It's probably colder than Florida. It's getting cold in Florida.
True.
I have to wear like a hoodie kind of thing. I wore this. Had to wear this. Yes. For Floridians. For Floridians. Anything below 70 is cold. Or maybe 65 is cold. Oh, Hiroshi, my hero. Hiroshi, my hero, is in the house. Welcome, Hiroshi, to wake up and be clear. Clear your mind of thoughts.
Hi, Hiroshi.
Hi, good morning.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In Japan.
Yeah, it's night. Good evening.
Bet you have a wonderful background.
Yeah.
It's put a background here. Space, the final frontier.
Yeah, space.
Or should it be like this? There. Huh? There. In the beginning, Hyrule created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
Oh.
But what was before the beginning?
The end.
Could be, yeah. You're right. The end of whatever was prior.
The previous incarnation of the universe.
Can a restart be stated very similar to in the beginning?
In the beginning. In the beginning of this episode, there was Dominic. Oh, and we had Jeez us, but he left. After a few seconds, he left. I guess he got tired of me trying to figure out how to get this going. And then there was Dominic. And then there was Hiroshi.
Yes,
And who will be next?
Who will be next?
I tried to get Luis Del Pino. I sent him a text message. And I tried to get Let's see.
Rami.
Rami.
Let's see.
Well,
Wealth. And
and
some
some
others.
others.
Maybe
Maybe
there's
there's
someone
someone
on
on
meetup.com
meetup.com
that's
that's
trying
trying
to
to
get
get
in,
in,
but
but
he doesn't have
have
the
the
passcode.
passcode.
Let's see, where's
Where's
meetup?
Meetup?
Meetup.
Meetup.
There
There
it
it
is.
is.
The
The
meetup
Meetup
app.
app.
Hmm.
Can I take a stab here? Not a stab, but an input.
An
on-
input.
On a topics that I had suggested yesterday to you. I don't know if you received it. On the
No,
concept-
I didn't check it out.
On the concept of attachment and non-attachment. What are both
Attachment.
and non-attachment? Well, what are both and what would that look like?
Hmm.
Are we always doing it?
Attachment
Attachment
and
and
non-attached.
non-attached.
Like, calling my name, for example. Can I get away from being attached to the response to it?
Mhm.
Or, since just a couple of us here, what is your perception when you hear words like that, attachment and non-attachment?
Mm. Mm.
We already are woken up right now, so we can start thinking clearly of it.
Mm.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh, what is
what
what
is
is
the
the
greatest
greatest
attachment
attachment
that
that we
have?
have? Oh,
Valeria.
Valeria.
Welcome,
Welcome, Valeria,
to
to
wake up and
and
think
think
clearly,
clearly,
where
where
we
we're
discussing
discussing
the profound topics.
topics.
What is the most profound topic?
topic?
Mm,
Mm,
the
the
attachment
attachment
to
to
having
having
a
a
topic.
topic. What?
And breathing be an attachment.
How
How are you, Valeria?
Valeria?
Valeria.
Yeah.
Lulu.
I'm doing okay. I'm a little bit sleepy, but I woke up and here we are.
From
From
Clearwater.
Clearwater.
Yes.
Just recently moved out.
Trying
Trying to find myself in meetup groups.
And
I'm always interested in as much philosophy conversation that they can participate. And although I haven't read any philosophical materials in my philosophy minor in college.
Whoa.
Mm.
Thank you for joining us,
where we will entertain you
with our philosophical musings.
Thank you.
Where
Dominic suggested
mm,
considering attachment and non-attachment.
What are they? How do we entertain that ideal, since we're going to use all these different words that we're spewing out, philosophizing? Why would I even entertain the ideal of attachment? What is an attachment? Are we attached to the mind? Are we attached to ideals? Are we attached to ignorance? When we want to be entertainment, is that another form of attachments? These are just ideals. One person can be inspired. It's not about it. It's not about arguing or debating each other, because you're entertaining the idea with oneself. What's the self? Then can you be non-attached to it? Can you stay away long enough to observe it and realize, why have I been blinded in so many other areas? Or am I constantly in what we call a sleepy state?
So we have attachment.
Hmm?
So there's An
An object
to
to
be
be
attached
attached
to
to
Yeah, there's the
and
physical
the
attacher.
attacher.
if you want to break it down.
That who is doing
the
the attaching.
Or we have an email
and we need to send a document.
so
So
we
we
attach
the document
to
to the email.
Give you an example, Jaro. I've mentioned this before. You describe something. I look at an object and I call it a hand. Am I attached to the object or am I attached to the word that I describe to it? And there's even the more subtle part. Am I attached to the sounds and frequency that harmonizes so I can just recall something and I call it a hand. I use the word, I could say it's a hand with fingers. Those are all small, little subtle, what I'm using the word as an attachment, the mind, the recording, like breathing.
Mm.
I could be attached to breathing. I just put it in a state of ignorance. It's so subtle that I forget about it. That's what I'm saying when I say ignorant, unaware, or I just take it for granted.
And
And when
is
is
something
something
attached
attached
to
to
something else, or is it that the something else is attached to it? Like
my hand
is
is
attached
to me.
Now
But
you're
if-
forming attachments.
But
But if I were the hand,
would
I say
that
that I
am
am
attached
attached
to
to
it?
it?
Would
Would the hand say
the
the hand is saying, thinking to itself, I am a hand
and
and I am attached
to
to
this
this body?
Or would it say
this body
is
is
attached
attached
to the hand?
When does that happen?
Again, now when you do the non-attachment, you realize no matter what you describe, you're going into the sub. So now by saying the body, the word that you're saying to the object, in this case, thing, there's that subtle attachment. You're attaching descriptions to a material. So when you're talking about the hand to the body, those are still constantly a thing. But the words that you're using, you're attaching to it, hence the word description. You're describing the thing. Again, some people use the words, myself anyway, when I describe things and I can't see it, spiritual. I can't see the words that I'm sharing with other people. What we're hearing is sounds and frequencies. And then we all get conditioned to learn different variations of languages. The thing could be described as material, object, evil, spiritual, and material, good and evil. That's all those words are. You can use many correlations to describe different things. This is why when people get to know thyself, then they can start seeing beyond the knowing thyself. When you become non-attached, or you have that moment of aha, then you see that you live in an objective realm. Everything is an object. I'm even using a word to describe the undescribable. The sky is not what you think it is. It's a thing that we describe with the word sky. So when somebody else beside you says the word sky, you have a thought and you say, but am I seeing through their senses? No, we have a common, maybe when it comes to sounds and frequency. That's why you come into the, well, most of us, the body anyway, not the conscious part, the body but one is more prevalent than the other one, and both of them are after thoughts. But where I'm going with in a long way is the concept of attachment. You're attached winning and losing. agree or disagree, likes and dislikes. Those are outcomes. What's the rules? You got to observe it. And the rules are always changing because you're interacting with other human beings, regardless of your culture, your nation, your gender. Those are
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
recording in progress. Okay, it came back. Welcome again to wake up and think clearly. Clearly, we haven't figured out things like attachments. Why do we have attachments? Oh,
Oh,
is it because we want to possess things and we make them ours, and that causes the attachment, the desire to keep it. Mhm. What do you think?
that's on the present that you think so observing them.
Mm.
Mhm.
So if you can observe,
So
When is an attachment good and when is it bad?
bad?
you'd have to first go
When it
under the.
Causes us suffering. Oh.
In
Oh,
the sense of resistance.
what if it's when we have an attachment to something and then we lose it, then we suffer.
Then we suffer.
Then you have to observe, when did you form that attachments? You're talking more of the latter end. People always, when they talk about suffering, they're talking about the latter end. They're not aware enough to observe.
Or
How are you? It's like somebody saying, I want to.
Can
can we
Be attached to something and suffer while we have it.
You're forming it at that
Oh,
point.
like an addiction.
A
we
dependency,
have
yes.
an
An addiction
and we can't get rid of it, and it's causing us suffering.
No, the suffering is actually miscuing it, thinking it's an addiction. It's a dependency. Once you give up all your
Oh.
other dependency in favor of one, then it can be formed of an addiction.
or maybe
we don't suffer
suffer
while we're engaged in the addiction.
the addiction.
Carol, I can give you one simple
But
example. Okay.
It could be ruining the rest of our other attachments, like our family.
Carol, I give you an example. Most of people take it for granted for breathing. You just have to try to take 3 out breaths without taking an in breath. Once you realize that's very challenging, and for some people, not a lot of people, it's almost impossible to do, then you realize how you have a dependency. Mhm. But now, after you've done it a couple of times, try to hold it before you actually desperately try to take an inhale or vice versa. That is what you call a dependency. That's not an addiction. This is where people have this skewed ideal of addiction, or they have this skewed ideal that cause and effect, where most people don't realize you're in the effect realm.
So
Go ahead.
breathing is
Is
breathing
breathing
an
an
attachment
attachment?
Yes, you have an attachment to breathing. You just take it for granted.
because if we stop breathing, then it
then it
will
will
cause suffering.
Well, it depends on you perceive breathing in and out. Breathing in and out, in some interpretation, can mean the life and death. You have a constant life and death. I'm playing with ideals here.
So
Mhm.
there are attachments that are necessary to have attachment to.
If you want to perceive it as right or wrong, like both of them are necessary for it to function. It's like you need to have positive and negative. This way you can get into triangles, positive and negative, and the car grounding to have a concept of a car.
Life.
So
if we
put
put
a
a
list of
of
all the
the
attachments
attachments
that
that
are
are
necessary
necessary
for
for
life,
life,
in one column. And then on the other column, all the attachments that are not necessary, then we can eliminate those. And we will have the
Then we
bare
have
minimum
attachments.
attachments.
Jarl, then you would not have the human experience. You're still trying to drive it home by favoring one, happiness, and you're avoiding the rest of it. So in this case, I'm talking about observing it, not
Observing
trying.
it.
You're still trying to.
Non-judgmental.
No, even observing it. When you use a language to describe something, that's judging. The whole idea of non-judgmental, that's just a child's game. And people never really observe themselves from inside and say, I'm always judging. If I say that's a beautiful.
Oh,
Mhm.
Welcome, Mike Taylor, the great mathematician from Winter Park, Florida. In science
science
I'm
fiction.
not
fiction.
sure who you're talking about.
Thank you for joining us. We have special guest Valeria, who joined us to be entertained because she has an interest in philosophy. So we better start talking about philosophy.
We are, Jarl. You just don't realize that. Well, philosophy is not
We
talking
have
about.
to have an attachment to philosophy.
I see Valeria is blacked out, so I presume her second name is incognito.
Valeria, let's see. She has a last name. I think it's Rowe. R-O-U.
No, it's a second name. It's Lou.
Oh,
L-O-U.
Lou. L-O-U.
And then there's a picture of her in Meetup. She looks Asian, maybe Hispanic. Hmm?
Yeah, Mexican.
Mexican. Ah,
it was close.
You missed your chance. You could have claimed to be Martian.
I'll try again next time.
Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Good meeting you.
And Valeria had some philosophy in college. And did you find it interesting or boring?
I found it interesting. We did classes on I did a class on aesthetics, so that was like the philosophy of art, and then ethics, and then like a class of like small lessons like feminism and language, and yeah, so it was really cool.
Oh, did you like aesthetics?
Yes.
Aesthetics?
Yep. Yeah.
Is that about what is
beauty?
beauty?
Yeah. Essentially, what is art?
What
What
is
is
art?
art? Oh,
What is art?
Yeah.
Music? Painting?
Dancing.
Yeah, but we can talk back about the attachments.
Philosophizing on Zoom. There's an art to it.
Haven't figured it out yet.
We can talk about attachment. What is so? So we have to observe our attachments, and then what is non-attachment? Oh, I think that means the effort to overcome an attachment or attachments that are bad for us, maybe.
At this point, Jarl, the only thing you've been doing right now is reacting. The observer does not go around categorizing it as good or bad. Those are your programs.
Oh,
I've told you before, change the word bad, opposed to good and bad,
Okay.
right and wrong, right and left. Those are
Okay.
directions.
how
How
about
about
virtuous
virtuous
and
and
non-virtuous?
non-virtuous?
Or
Now you're-
beneficial and
and
non-beneficial.
non-beneficial?
Now you're attaching more words.
Oh,
You're
darn
still- No, now you're just being clever. But you're gonna learn from it, whatever you think from it. If you can stay true to yourself,
How about
at that which causes happiness and that which causes unhappiness?
unhappiness?
Oh,
Oh,
that
that
could be
troublesome too.
could be. It could be.
Because
we
we
might
might
obtain temporary happiness and later on suffer because of that
attachment
that
that we thought was good temporarily.
I think you're just, I think you're using words, words.
It's hopeless.
No, you're just saying another word.
Ah,
I
I should
should be
be
quiet.
quiet.
It would probably benefit you a bit if you could get into the state of silence and then listen from within. But you figure if you fill in the space, you're going to be non-attached opposed to observing. It's like when somebody sheds weight. Have you ever learned by observing how have I gained weight? You know, people say words like lose weight. What do you do when you lose anything? You want to gain it. Your body's actually very sensitive to the way you think. It doesn't necessarily mean what you say. That just reveals you a little bit of where you are in that particular moment. So if you can grasp the word attachment, attached to the mind, entertainment, government. I'm just using old Latin words to mean the mind. The brain will receive that information from what's called the mind. And when you become the watcher, the observer of those things, then you can say, okay, so which one serves me and which one do I serve it? Then this is when you become aware that, do I use the word self-love or love the self or self-awareness or aware of the self? There's a shift that has to occur. When it occurs, you realize I'm attached to a lot of things. I'm in those things. But at the same time, am I playing non-duality, singularity? You know, so when you go on, you're looking because you're trying to drive it home, whatever you think the concept of happiness is. So you're missing the concept of being in a moment. That's all you've ever had. So in that moment, you can observe sweet and sour, hence these two shall pass. It's a challenging thing for all of us to go through. That's called the human experience. When you say words such as, I'm just using you as an example, Jaro, my life, my thoughts, are they really your thoughts or are you experiencing thoughts? Have you ever had in the program to question the program? Should you be able to question your way you think, how you feel? Not others. That's why it's know thyself. Philosophy is the many whys. Science is the many hows. Why do I think? Why don't I think? But when people say, I went to university, I went to get philosophy or whatever, I said, you didn't learn nothing yet. Philosophizing is from within, not from without. Now you can question things such as, do I actually see when I say the word tree out there on that material? Probably not. But we take it for granted thinking, well, every word I use, well, then if I said the word tree in Latin, would that verify it or denounce the fact that that object or that thing can no longer be what I call tree, but I associate it as tree? Where did I get that concept from? Then you can play with the idea of what blood and water does or doesn't do. But unfortunately, most people are attached to their likes and dislikes. And actually, most people are attached to their likes. They resist the dislikes. This is why when you hear people say, I agree or disagree, based on what? What did you pick up from my senses that you could say that you actually saw the sun the way I did? No, so we're associating two objects with a sound. And unless you're willing to go to that in depth of awareness, and it's not even that deep personally, but unless you want to do that, then you're going to try to surround yourself and protect yourself from really exploring the word attachment, because in the word attachment, there's actually sound in there. And there's different frequency. This is beyond 440 and 432 because people want to gauge things. The time does not exist because I use numbers to distinguish it as a clock or a watch, let alone the sun and the moon is not time. Those are just gauges. For what? Well, and our ancestors used to look up in the sky. Some of them were wise enough within to say, well, this is when we plant our seeds. This is when we start doing harvesting. A lot of that's done intuitively. But the thinking mind has forgot. What about the rest of you, all the other receivers in your body? But now, if you want to go on, Jaro, and bombarding a whole bunch of questions without no intent, whatever, to actually go inwards, you're just reacting then. You're not having the ability to respond. And I'm only saying that for one. Okay.
What am I attached to?
Happiness.
So
I
I am attached to things that I like.
You are
And-
attached to multiple voices and personalities.
Echoes. So
I
I am attached to multiple things
like
this
this
headset,
microphone,
microphone,
and
and
this phone, and this laptop.
Oh,
There
there
it
it
I
is.
see our meeting is about done.
Oh, but we'll be creating a new one after we get kicked out. So give me a few seconds to start a new one, and then you can join again to be further entertained.